Facebook shares suffered badly today. They are down some 2%. If you take a look at the way they have moved over the last 164, now down at 158. This doesn't really, tells the story of the last few weeks, but if you think about how Facebook has risen so dramatically, except for those occasions where, of course, it has been hit by hacking scandals or indeed having to pay damages or compensation. Now the company's under formal investigation in Ireland with a hack that affects some 50 million users. So the stock itself is down 6% over the last 5 sessions and considerably more if you take it over the past year to date. It's lagging far behind the tech sector. And it raises the question, what is the final straw if you decide to give up Facebook? So get out the phones, tablets and computers. On this occasion, please, do not go to facebook.com. Oh, no. Instead, go to cnn.com/join and prepare yourself to vote. So what would cause you to delete Facebook? What would cause you to leave it behind? Will it be a privacy breach? Would it be a lack of usefulness? It's simply wasting too much time. A toxic environment. The whole concept of toxic environment would be things like fake news, being used, being abused. And you wouldn't delete it come what may. These two seem to be the big ones: privacy breach, lack of usefulness, and it is cnn.com/join. Those are the three, and these are the results so far. We'll have more for you. In fact, we'll show you the final numbers on the other side of this. The chief executive of Salesforce is calling Facebook the new cigarette, an addictive service being pushed on us by unknown forces. Mark Benioff has been speaking to CNN's Laurie Siegel, who said it's time for the government to step in.
When will every company say, our highest value is the trust that we have with you? Our customers, our consumers, our governments have to say the same thing, our citizens. That is, there's nothing more important in this revolution that we have than the trust we have with each other. And for companies and CEOs that aren't able to say that, then let me tell you what's going to happen to them. Their employees are going to walk out, and they are. Their executives are going to walk out, and they are. Their customers are going to walk out, and they are, if they don't trust them. So if your highest value is something other than trust, like let's say it's power, and all you care about is the monetization of your company or your social network or whatever it is, but it's not really about the trust and integrity that you have with even your core employees or your top executives that you work with every day, you've got a serious problem, and every CEO is going to have to address that. This is the new world.
I get the sense that you were kind of referencing Facebook there. Was that
I'm really
Facebook,
talking at a meta level, and not even just the technology industry. I'm talking about every industry, because technology is every industry now. Do
you trust this industry to self-regulate? Someone just the other night said to me, we as technologists have to self-regulate. I got to tell you, I'm looking at the last couple of years.
I don't trust the industry to self-regulate. I already said, Facebook is the new cigarettes. It's not good for you. It's addictive. You don't know who's trying to convince you to use it or misuse it. The government has to step in and regulate it. And Facebook has proven that to us over and over and over again, that they need to be regulated because they're not self-regulating. And that's true of a lot of technology companies. I don't think there's anything wrong. Look, we have those examples in every industry. Why is technology going to be the only industry that the government isn't going to step in to make sure that there's fair practice and truth and trust with consumers or businesses? You have to get there. And when the technology is getting so powerful, they're going to have to step in and do that.
But I also watched the senators grill Mark Zuckerberg and thought, oh, dear Lord, do they actually have an understanding of technology? So I feel complicated about it.
Well, maybe not these senators, but the millennial senators that are coming do. Maybe these are not digital natives, these senators and these congresspeople. But I am confident that there are senators and congresspeople and presidents and everyone else who is coming into the future who are digital natives and who will understand this. So you either change now or you will change later, but you will change.
The critics of Facebook say fundamentally the business model of Facebook is broken. You can't make money and also achieve Facebook's mission. What do you think?
I don't know the detailed intricacies of their, engine room. All I can say is at a meta level, we have to operate with values. And every company and every CEO needs to be able to articulate what is really important to you, and are you congruent as a CEO, as a board of directors, as a management team with your values?
They are remarkably strong questions, and you'll want to hear more from what Mark Benioff said, and you can now find that because today is a landmark day in our coverage of business and technology. CNN Money is no more. They rather like the idea Quest means business, so much so, today we are proud to introduce to you CNN Business. CNN means business. And with that comes a new site, as you can see below, and all the stories on the innovation changing our world. There's a very straightforward way to get to it. It's through the main door, cnn.com/business. Whether online, on television, digitally or otherwise, we mean business. Russia stands accused of waging business of its own, a rather nasty business, a complex worldwide campaign of cyber espionage, and the Western allies are now taking unprecedented action to counter Moscow's attempts to interfere and undermine democracies. So the United States, for example, today announced indictments against 7 Russians, it says, engaged in hacking. British and Dutch officials pointed to a series of malicious cyber attacks across the world, including the US Democratic Party, which we are aware about, and indeed they announced their own arrests. The accusations detail sprawling, targeting cyber attacks. Victims came from Ukraine, from Turkey, from Bulgaria, from Japan, South Korea, Canada, and the United States. And the British Defence Secretary said it's a situation that cannot continue.
What we're doing by acting with our allies, by actually isolating Russia, exposing the fact that these are actions of a state that is acting in a reckless and indiscriminate manner. This is not the actions of a great power. This is the actions of a pariah state, and we'll continue working with allies to isolate them, make them understand they cannot continue to conduct themselves in such a way.
So that's Russia and the allegations against Russia. And despite all these allegations, the Trump administration says Chinese interference is even worse. So let's forget Russia and let's concentrate on China. The US Vice President Mike Pence has accused Beijing of attempting to influence American public opinion in the midterms coming up. And a Bloomberg report, which everybody is talking about, and congratulations for them on this report, suggests Chinese spies successfully hacked almost 30 US companies, including Silicon Valley giants like Amazon and Apple. Both these companies have denied the attack. Vice President Pence said the US won't be intimidated.
As a senior career member of our intelligence community told me just this week, what the Russians are doing pales in comparison to what China is doing across this country. And the American people deserve to know it.
Matthew Chance joins me from Moscow. The VP says that Russia pales into its significance compared to China. Now, this must be a serious matter because Russia's up to it and it's up to their eyeballs. Matthew.
It is. I mean, look, within the past few hours, we've had the United States and we've had the Dutch, coupled by the British and various others as well, basically outlining a catalogue, a series of cyber plots that they believe the Russian GRU, Military Intelligence Agency, has been embroiled in to hack into the OPCW, the chemical weapons watchdog, in The Hague, to hack into WADA, the World Anti-Doping Agency, in Lucerne, in Switzerland, to attempt to access information into the investigation of MH17, the downing of that Malaysian airliner over eastern Ukraine, and a host of other issues as well, not to mention meddling in the US presidential election in 2016. And so there have been an absolutely enormous catalogue of malign activity, as it's often characterized now, on the part of Russia in general and the GRU, Military Intelligence Agency, in particular. And so, yeah, it's quite astonishing that the Vice President believes that China is doing even more than the Russians are.
But how Russia denies it, and no amount of evidence put before the world public opinion seems to shift that denial. Do ordinary people in Russia even know about the extent of the allegations against the Russian government?
They do. I mean, because those allegations are covered. But I mean, they're covered through the prism of Russian state media. And you're absolutely right. The Russians go to great lengths to categorically deny every single allegation that's made against them, whether it's hacking the presidential election, downing MH17, carrying out a chemical weapons attack on the British streets. I mean, all of this is basically cast as anti-Russian propaganda. Within the past few minutes, the Russian Foreign Ministry has issued a statement saying that the latest allegations of hacking the chemical weapons watchdog are yet another propaganda campaign against our country. And so they're speaking to their domestic audience. I mean, in fairness, the Dutch and to some extent as well the British, when they put out their evidence in the Skripal poisoning, have gone to extraordinary lengths to put out a lot of detail. The Dutch had photographs of the equipment that had been seized, the photographs of the suspects they'd expelled. One of them even had a taxi receipt that they found in his pocket, which was from a street near to the GRU headquarters in Moscow to the airport, where he took a plane to the Netherlands. And so a lot of detail in order to counter these incessant Russian denials.
Matthew Chance, thank you for staying up late in Moscow tonight, joining us.